Now, broadcasting and that journey, it started. So I've started into fifth form. I've got in, that was around 98 as it is, getting across to about 99. Your very cameraman that is standing in front of me, Joshua, and I have worked together in an era that was very challenging. And I'll show you that era altogether. Let me see. How many of you know exactly what is on my, let me try to just change that a little bit bigger for you. How many of you know exactly what is on my device right here? I'm hearing a little bit. You guys know what is it? All right, I'm getting you to. You know what it is? All right, you know what is it? Does it play on? Can't remember. You guys, I'm just going to come to right here. You guys know what it is? What does it play on? You know what it plays on? All right, we're going to work with that. So this is a cassette, which is a VHS cassette. Now, this is where my journey as a broadcaster started. And Joshua was working with me at that time at MTV. We were running in the studio blind to cue one of these up. Our journey has moved a little bit further, so we get like a whole stockpile of this into the studio walls. It was crazy. We got fortunate by moving into a DVD. Life got better as a broadcaster and as a television operator. So the stockpile gets a little bit less. Then the stockpile moves into a little flash drive. We go to Josh and we go to any of the studios with your information there. Today, none of us use all what I've just said. That's obsolete. It doesn't use. Today, life is on this, right? Life is on your USB or the same device on my cell phone. So what it tells you that life brings you a path that you decide as it is. I was fortunate to see all that I've told you about. Many of you today will not experience that. It's not a bad thing. It was a tiring thing. It was crazy. It was a lot of miscue. Josh, did you miscue any of the tapes? He did. So imagine this. You're, as an operator, this is all broadcasting. You need to find an ad. And all you're doing is, you get a preview screen, or rewinding that tape. You got an aid to memory or a list that you get 25 ads on a tape. It don't be 25. It probably be about 100 ads on a tape. And you're scrolling and you're moving. And imagine your next operator is going to come and take that over. He cued the ad till to the end and you now thought you had it right. So what you had to do back in those days is cue your ads before a program or a time slot. So it was a very tedious task. Today, you don't need to do that. Everything is listed and you just click. Broadcasting. And broadcasting has started before that era. Now, what you need to do is think of what you need to do to be a broadcaster. Self-motivation is the greatest passion. One thing that motivates you is reading. Reading is vital in broadcasting. And all you need to do is pick up anything. Yesterday's newspaper, an old magazine, sit on your desk and read. What you try to do is look into that mirror. Because what you're trying to do is communicate with yourself. Because broadcasting on radio and television, it's almost communicating with yourself. So imagine you're in a studio and it's only you in front of a camera. I'm not seeing all of you. What I have to do is assume that I have an audience. So in Guyana, we don't have what is called a census. So we can't tell you how many persons are looking at you at one point or listening to us on the radio at the same time. Canada, the US, they've developed that. They can be able to tell you that. Well, we have 1 million people looking at the Super Bowl today, or we have 500,000 looking at tonight's basketball game. We can't do that in Guyana at the moment. So your mind and your imagination is key. Now, how do you develop an imagination? You develop an imagination through reading and through knowing yourself. Now, I thought television was easy when I've started a very long time ago. But I've learned to understand that when I started radio, Radio was even more difficult altogether. Now, how does that go? See, on television, you have at least two operators in the studio that you could talk to. Now, radio, you don't have that two operator. You may have a DJ, but you need to in sync with him or her, whoever is your DJ. So radio has given you more imagination, because radio has given you the opportunity today to create that facade or that imagination that gives you an audience. You need to understand who you're talking to. And how do you do that in Guyana? Field work. You either go out to stores or shops and know how to market your programming and market yourself. Another journey in terms of broadcasting, it's a beautiful field to get in, especially if you have a passion to speak, because broadcasting and television is speaking. However, if you're to go to a media-related service and in that field, writing is key, because writing for online news or the newspaper is always key. But I'm sticking more to speaking, because that's the field that I am more into for more than 2 decades altogether. Now, another journey for you, it's going to be difficult. If you want to be a doctor, it's going to be difficult. You got to study, you got to go through all these exams. For broadcasting, it's a similar thing. You got to go through your exams, you got to be qualified. But you could be fortunate to get into broadcasting with basic education. However, keep in mind that broadcasting is a very public life. A public life simply means every day you're under scrutiny. So that could be a challenge altogether. It could be a good thing or it could be a bad thing. So since I was probably 16, my life has become public, unknowingly to me. But you have to learn to cope with the positives and the negatives. There are lots of persons that don't like me in society, and it's fine, because that's the nature of a human being. You don't know someone, oh well, he go too many places, so you know what, we don't like him. Or he looks stronger than your survey dish probably, so we don't like him. But no, I ain't no strong more than him. He's actually, I'm going to tell you a story about him a little bit as I get there too. But you will always find that because you've chosen the path to be a broadcaster, it's a public life. So a public life means everyone looks at what you do. Everyone listens to what you say, whether they're good or whether it's bad. So if you choose that direction, remember that you have to get a thick skin. Now honestly, I didn't know this. So we would have erred. And I'm being as bold as it is. So we would have erred, we would have been out, we would have had so many joy rides and so many fun moments. And you need to do that as a child or a teenager or as an adult, but have it in a controlled way. The adults today will always guide you. Listen, as a 14-year-old or a 15-year-old, you'll think you know the world. Trust me, you'll really think you know the world, and you'll really think you know what is best for you. And I don't want to lecture you on that part. But what we're having here today will never repeat. 15 years from today, the two of you right there, or the two of you right there, will want to remember this moment. Not Reaz speaking with you, but school. I've met many friends along, and what we do, we reminisce when we went to school. But what you do when you're in school, you want to see the outer world, the first thing. The outer world is dangerous. The outer world is lots of ups and lots of downs. But you will get to those dangerous paths. You will get to the ups and downs. But before, enjoy today. Choose your career. Be guided that you want to be on. As a broadcaster, it's never been an easy task in getting into this field. There will always be the persons that said that he can't survive. And as a 16-year-old in broadcasting with a field that was with men that was about 30, 35. Their first word is that little boy, well, this is not that little boy's place. And I've heard that. But there was one gentleman that stand behind me, that I stand anywhere that I go, and I'll tell you that I'll forever be grateful and forever be proud of him, my dad. My mom is my biggest critique. She listens to every single one of my radio programs. And if I made an error, there's a phone call. You didn't pronounce the word right. Okay. Stop saying Stop saying meanwhile. She listens. But you know what is that? That is guidance. Because what she tells me every day, and I'm serious, she tells me this every day. She tells me this every day. But she's doing that because she wants you, her child, to be better. It's the same thing with your teachers and your parents. So that journey of broadcasting, if you have one person that is going to back you, and my rock has been my dad since I'm 16 to today. The journey of broadcasting have created so many opportunities for me. It has given me opportunities to evolve from a broadcaster to an ambassador to represent Guyana on many of international stages. And I say this not to boast it, I only say this today, because these are things I don't literally speak to persons on. I say this as a motivator. I say this to tell you that 14-year-old or that 15-year-old in you could be a better person. You don't have to be a broadcaster. I've traveled the world and I've created opportunities from South America to North America to the Caribbean, representing Guyana. And that's the most proudest moments of my life. You will never reach pinnacle. Always they said this. In any task or any job that you'll do, never tell yourself that you've reached pinnacle, or never tell yourself that you know everything. Today, I've given opportunities to young DJs that I learn from on a day-to-day or a week-to-week basis. Reason being, remember I showed you VHS that moves to a flash drive earlier? These guys, minds are more fresh than mine. So they know how to create and they know how to come up with different ideas. And if you could have a team that evolves around you, what it does, it only makes the final product better. So keep in mind, you're the final product. Whether you choose to be a television host, a radio personality, a doctor, a lawyer, a mechanic. Today's world of our country, Guyana, with the influx and the new rising oil and gas sector, I can tell you that a media operative, and I use that word in that bolder direction to tell you that it's a growing field. And a media operative in this case could be from a cameraman to an editor to a story writer to a broadcaster, and it goes on and on. You know, gone are also the days when you think that a DJ is just a guy that plays music. Well, let me tell you this. A DJ can be paid for a night up to $3,000 US. But it didn't come overnight. They have worked to the level that they're at to achieve that. But there are also DJs that have been paid $100 US, $20,000. But it doesn't mean that DJ that's been paid $100 US or $20,000 cannot elevate to $1,000 US. The path is filled with opportunities. What you need to know is what direction you want to go. Your best direction is right here what we're in today. School. Don't let anyone on the roadway tells you that this is not the direction. Because with Guyana's rising economy right now, your direction is education. And knowledge will come. Experience will come. All you need to do is give everything time. So the VHS went to a flash drive, time. And time saves money. It saves its own self because it saves time. We were queuing tapes, but we are now selecting on a flash drive. Your journey to broadcasting is an easy task. And I say this because I probably had it as an easy task. But what you need to do is set goals. Set things that you want to achieve in any part of life. And mine is going to be based on broadcasting because that's my field at the end of the day. Set today that you want to achieve 5 things. It's fine. You didn't achieve all 5. And I've failed in many areas. But what I didn't do is that I didn't stop. Remember I told you guys earlier about the 16-year-old that got into television by accident? That they said that he would never be successful? Or he will never stand in that part? Well, today I could stand in front of about 25,000 with an audience crowd. Next weekend we have one of the biggest shows that will come to Guyana that I'm part of, that we will stand and MC in front probably 15,000, 20,000. I'm bringing someone new to the stage on that weekend, and I like creating opportunities or giving opportunities to people because I find it that I was not fortunate for these opportunities. Remember I started by telling you I can't remember having this when I was going to school? So kudos to your school, Camille's Institute, and to the team for doing this. I didn't have it, so I didn't have someone coming and talk to me on broadcasting or a part of a career path. It was a journey that I happened to be onto. But it is not something that I find it fitting to give back. This is why I've created opportunities for youngsters. If someone want to be, if any of you want to, somewhere along the line, you want to be in broadcasting sometime after school, I want to say after school. Even if you're in school, because remember, I was in high school when I got into this. Contact Servidish. And I could be able to guide you in that because I want to pass that baton on to someone else. This is why next weekend we have some new faces that we will introduce. And sometimes someone was asking me, Mr. Reaz, don't you think they're going to take away your job? I was like, no. I'm creating job for that person. What I've created can't be replaced. And I tell myself that. Remember I started by also telling you, motivate yourself. Be a self-driven motivator on any path that you want to go on. Don't tell yourself that you are the best at what you do. Or don't stand up and say, okay, I'm the best broadcasting Guyana. I will never do that. What you tell yourself is that I will do the best of my ability. The path will be a bouncy one. It will be rough. It will be difficult. These bank road has been making and breaking every day, right? There's some smooth parts, there's some rough parts. We can't change that. That's what life will brings you. As for me, in terms of broadcasting, it has created great opportunities. It has created relationship. And that is another thing that I want to touch on. My era of broadcasting, the first 10 years probably, we didn't have this. And that was a good thing. Why was it a good thing? Today we're all being caught up into social media. Today it's a nasty world in social media. I am baffled with big men and big women sitting and cussing and ridiculing themselves. Each one of you today, don't ever get caught in that part. You know why? 10 years from today, that's video still lingering somewhere. And 10 years from today, when you're going to that big company for that job, that CEO just remember seeing you doing some nonsense on social media. And I'm sorry to put it as bold as that, but there's a reason why. As I go to my next piece, I'll tell you. It will affect you. It will. Social media is a wonderful tool today. I'm not disappointed that I didn't have it 10 years in the first 10 years into my career. But today, sad to say, I can't live without it. Because the world evolves around here. But what you could do is be smart. Is be that responsible individual. Do not get caught up in the misleading world. So I tell everyone, and if you were to follow my Instagram, I almost lives on my Instagram. I don't have TikTok for so many different reasons, but I live on my Instagram stories every day. So everyone says, when I first got acquainted with social media, said, why do you do all these things? Same individual today is telling me that I had a vision of what I saw was going to forthcome. Today we cannot do without social media because it's the fastest interactive thing to just tell us what's happening in the world. We could know what's happening anywhere in the world by the click of our phones. And with that, that's how it's so powerful. That's how it could be a plus in broadcasting, and it could also be a negative in broadcasting. Be responsible. That's the key thing. And this goes for any career path that you choose. Be a responsible individual in the way that you carry yourself, the way that you journey yourself. Comes to my friend Videsh. I've known Videsh for more than 20 years, or probably in that direction. The first time I walked into a gym, Videsh was in that gym. I probably go there maybe 6 months. I lose interest. I was like, this is a waste of time. Not interested in that anymore. It was a hobby. I stopped. I started to realize that my field of work, I need to be fit. Because Joshua could tell you, you see Joshua here a lot. It is a lot of work. It's a lot of work. It's not just about what you hear for 2 hours on the radio or an hour on television. There's a lot of background work that we do. So sometimes you're running from here, running from here. Let me give you a quick run as well. Just as I finish with you, I'm actually headed to radio for 1 o'clock. I need to go to the masjid before 1 o'clock. So just as I leave, I gone. You gotta get energy and stamina to keep going. Fitness and exercise comes in. Then maybe about 8 years back, probably. About 8 years, right? Yeah. Maybe about 8 years back, I decided to get serious about fitness. I can't remember the right form of a dumbbell. I said if I go to one of the fancy gyms, them guys gonna laugh at me, you know. Here comes this guy. They listen to him on the radio. They probably see him around emceeing shows. He probably gotta know about lifting the weights, man. He gotta know what he gotta do. So I was like, nah, I can't go to no fancy gym. I can't go to none of these places. But I could call my one friend that will guide me. Remember I tell you earlier about guidance? I said I'll call my one friend that will guide me to that path. And forever I'm always grateful to him on that path because I go home by him. I train by him at any hour. Once I'm available, I go home by him and I train. He taught me the basic steps. Form in exercise, I'm sure you've mentioned this many times. Form is key. Today, I am not a trainer, but I could handle myself and train anyone in the gym that I go to today because of knowledge and guidance and relationship. Self-motivation, guidance, and relationship. If you forget everything that I've mentioned today, just remember those 3 words. Self-motivation, guidance, and relationships. Self-motivation means that you're motivating yourself. Guidance, it means that you have close people that you pick the phone up and you could call and they'll be able to guide you. Relationships is similar to guidance. Because in broadcasting, if you don't have relationship, you don't have a career. You have to know the 3 works hand in hand. So if everything that I tell you from the VHS days to that 16-year-old that was told that he could never make it into being a broadcaster, just remember the three words: motivation, guidance, and relationship. And that will take you on a beautiful journey. A journey that I think will create opportunities. And if you're a self-driven person at 14, most of you are 14, 15, about that, right? And don't let no one tell you that you can't think for yourself. You can think for yourself, but with guidance. Respect your society, your parents, the people around you. They all want to see you to be a better individual. That is what it's about. And to be a better individual, it starts from you. So the room of broadcasting and the room of a media practitioner, today, it's a very, very vibrant society because it's a very vibrant field. So broadcasting doesn't always have to be that you have to be a radio personality. Because today I've evolved from quite a lot of that. Like I told you earlier as well, is I'm creating opportunities. I want to see, I would like someone to take my position. I would like if I could give my radio slot up, but because I know a thing or two, you have to do it with precision. Because today what's happening is that I've stepped away. I'm still into broadcasting. I'm still on the radio every day. But I've stepped away in being PR consultants for quite a few companies to coordinators for quite a few events. We have an event that is coming to Ghana next weekend with 40 plus artists on one single stage. Who do you think coordinate? Who do you think will manage that stage at the end of that night? Anyone? That's right. How did it come? It come with experience. It come with over a period of time. Don't you think I wanted us go and sit back and look at the show? I do. But at events, we can't do that. But all surrounds as a media practitioner. It starts in that same direction. That field is very evolving. I didn't know where I would have landed, but where I am today. When you get opportunities, you take them. When you get your president that could believe in you in executing tasks, or the ministers at various ministries, that's another proud moment. And why did I say that? Like I said, I honestly don't like speaking on these things. But I say that today because I dislike giving any praises to myself. If my close friends will always tell you, I don't. But I say this because I want to motivate you, to tell you that the opportunity is there, but it takes time. What you have to be is be consistent. Never give up. I told you that I failed before, didn't I? And it's fine. It's okay to fail. But if you fail and you stop, that's your problem. Remember I told you I started the gym maybe 20 years probably as the first window. And then I lasted maybe a few months and I stopped. So I consider that a failure. It was in my head, but 8 years ago probably, or there's about, I said, no, I need to get back in that journey. So I failed, but I conquered that fail. Because today, you can't get me from not working out. Anywhere that I go, I travel anywhere around the world, I ensure that is part of my routine. So what you need to do is know and have a plan. At 14, it may sound tasking to have a plan, because I didn't. At 14, I didn't have a plan. And again, I tell you this to motivate you. I didn't have a plan. At 16, I think it was a fun. For the first time you're getting on TV, come back to school, the next day all your friends tell you, hey, we see you on TV last night. What do you feel? You feel excited. So someone tells you something nice, you feel excited. It's fine. I was in that same year, I was writing CXC. So I wanted to go to the university to be a lawyer. That didn't happen. That ain't gonna happen either. But what I did, I went to do communications and I went to fellow up in marketing the after 3 years after. And within that same period, various programs have started. Today, I am not on the one thing that I really, really love. I'm not on television today. I've stopped television, I wouldn't say stop, but I've evolved into radio maybe about 12, 13 years, but part of the whole television since 98 to today. But what happened is that radio has become the new television, because I could go on the radio and I could just go live. And I could be able to see 3,000-4,000 people looking at you from around the world at the same time. Because remember, we don't have a census. I can't tell you who's listening to us on the FM dial or who's listening to us on the television. But what radio and social media did is created a new environment. I told you it's a dangerous world in social media, but it's a good world if you use it correctly. So I hope my little talk today, one of you could be a next broadcaster. And notice I said broadcaster, and I did not say the next Reaz, because you craft yourself as your own individual. You look up to someone, but you don't be that person. Be your own self. Now I had persons that I've looked up to in my journey, and my number one and forever will be is my dad, because he is one of, in my books, one of the best public speaker and writer. I am nowhere close to him. Nowhere close. Josh knows my dad, and he could attest to that. Videsh knows my dad. I've talked so much about wanting to see someone to be the next broadcaster. So Videsh, I'll take you a little bit further than that. I will give 5 persons the opportunity for the remainder of this month or the remainder of the other half of next month, because I have some travel commitments after the end of this month. So you either have the window starting effectively now to the end of this month, or from anyway after about the 15th of next month to August, or just before school close, or it could be the window when school close. At 5 persons could come to our studio, and I will give you the opportunity to go live and to be that broadcaster of that segment or that day or days. And I'll span this within like 2 weeks. So what you guys will do is coordinate with Sir Videsh the interests, and he will figure out how you want to be there. All right, we get this young man want to be there. So what I'll do, it'll last for about 2 weeks. It'll last for about 2 weeks with the coordination of Videsh and your parents, of course, because they'll need to bring you to the studio and get you back and everything. 5 persons now to the end of this month, or after the 15th of July. It stands for 2 weeks as well. 5 persons. If you have a few more, it's fine. And I'll show you how you could be taking my job or taking a job as a broadcaster, which I'll be honored to have you guys there. So you'll coordinate that with Videsh and the school, and you'll work that out. So the window is open for you guys here. Thank you guys. Thank you very much. And best wishes ahead. So the proprietors of the school and I go back as long as Videsh as well. It's just that we haven't been in contact every day. But a little story that I'll share with you just before I go. The very first time that I sat out on a stage with a mic and an MC an event, it was actually in one of the yards of the Dookies. It was this same yard? Same at the front? So they had a show, and this was probably about either 97 or 98 or 99. I think it's, okay, so I think it's either like about 98 to about 99, somewhere around there. That was literally the very first time that I stand and hold a microphone and walked onto a stage and MC a show. So the relationship with the Dookie family has been an ongoing relationship for a number of years. So when Videsh gave me the call and tell me to come and talk, he asked me for 1 o'clock. I said, I can't do 1 o'clock, but I'll do 11 o'clock. So the family and I go back. So I thank the family and management for having me here today as well. Thank you.
All right, so who am I speaking with today? 3rd form, 4th form, 5th form?
3rd and 4th. The 5th forms, they on their way out.
They're on their way out? You've put them out?
Yeah, their farewell was Friday.
Oh, okay, nice, nice. So we got 2nd form. Let me see the 2nd form hands. Couple. 3rd. So, okay, some bigger ones. And who else? Fourth? Let me see the fourth. So you're the ones that are preparing to go right what? CXC. Hopefully you make it right. All right, and some of you are decked out in long sleeve in this heat. I hope you're making it, my brother. Some of you are decked out as what? This is a pilot uniform? Right. And so we're all talking about career day and what we want to become and where we're going in this life. Guess how old I am? Somebody make a guess. Oh my God. I am 39 this year. So close to 40. I look like 25, right? Come on, just say yes. Let's move through. The camera is rolling and recording, all right? So let's pass that. But I once was in school just like you. I wrote CXC in 2001. And from CXC, I was not privileged like many people to go to University of Guyana, to go do a degree, or to go study. I had to start working right away. So as soon as I finished school, what I had to start making was this. Money. Come on, say it again. Money. Why do you have to make money? To buy the things you want and to live. Because when you finish school, I realized something. I have the engineers behind me. I realized I wasn't getting an allowance anymore. My mother used to give me money every week, and you finish school and mom's like, all right, so have you started doing your applications? I'm like, for what? She's like, for work. Why you think you went to school? So I was ushered into the world of work, and that changed my life. So I had friends going to university. My mom is a university lecturer, and she believed in us learning responsibility. And so I started to work, and I realized as you start to make money, you have some form of independence. You're no longer depending on mommy and daddy for money. You're making your own waves, all right? What comes with that independence? Responsibility. What kind of responsibility? Managing your money, right? Managing your time. You will come to a point in your life where you realize your mommy and daddy no longer ringing your phone to find a way there. Who are you there with? What time you're coming home? The older you get, the more responsible you become. How many of us can't wait for that day? Let me see your hands. Where you're your own big man and your own big woman. But guess what? I miss the days of mom taking care of me. There's a famous writer. How many of us read books? Let me see your hands. Come on, if you stretch it up properly. I hate reading books. All right, but they tell you read books and you're gonna learn something, right? So there's this famous writer called Stephen Covey. Any of us ever heard of him? Stephen Covey is this guy that teaches you about business. And he says this one thing. He says, begin with the end in mind. Say it with me. Say begin. Begin. I can't hear you. Begin. I can't hear you. Begin. I can't hear you. Begin. All right. Begin with the end in mind. Who could tell me what that means? Am I allowed to give out prizes? I have $1,000 for who could tell me what that means. Is that small? Too small money? Yeah. What do we want? A 5,000? Yeah. So here's my prize. Whoever is more interactive with me, you see my pocket here? There's money and there's money. The pocket's tight and the pants tight. I can't breathe properly, but you know what? We're here. So it said begin with the end in mind. Who could tell me what that means? Quickly.
You have an idea of your...
Talk loud.
You have an idea of your results before you actually started?
Yes, give me a little more meat on that bone.
You have to be given a goal.
You have to begin with your end goal. Put your hands together for her. What's your name? Aliyah? But I want to take you further. So when you're starting something, you always have to say, where does this end up? For example, some of you are going into science stream, business stream, general. We used to say general is for the done students back in those days, right? But now general, I wish I was in general because life is general, all right? So when you go into science stream, what you want to become? A doctor, a scientist. If you go in business stream, what you want to become? An entrepreneur, right? And when you go in general, what you want to become? There's something called, it's a professional lungira. You know what's a professional lungira? I'm kidding. But here what happened. I want to take you further with the end in mind. And this might get a little scared. Are you ready to be scared?
Yes.
I know I'm ugly, you're already scared, right? Begin with the end in mind. What is the ultimate end? Who can tell me? This person will win $2,000. Stand up and shout it. Stand up, man. Come on, let me hear you.
When you're dead.
When you're dead. Sit down. I'm teaching you also a lesson of disappointment in life. Have a seat. Not everything people promise you they're going to give you. You've learned a good lesson today. Begin with the end in mind. One day, and do this with me, even miss. Close your eyes. I'm going to keep my eyes open. I have money on me. Close your eyes. Picture yourself dead. Go with me. I'm going to take you somewhere. See somebody opening their eyes. They want to think about it. Picture yourself lying in a coffin. Open your eyes. Have you ever thought about it before?
Yes.
One day, we all will
Die.
The only thing many people don't prepare for is that fateful day. Let me ask the next question. Do I have your attention at the back? When will you die? Amen. Pray. We should take up an offering. You have an offering basket? No one knows when will be your time to go. Isn't that true? So here you are sitting and I see the energy and I see the vibrance and everyone is saying, when I grow up, I want to be this. When I grow up, I want to be that. I want to tell you something. It starts now. The sooner you realize you're going to die, and the sooner you focus on that day of death, you really start to live. Have you ever seen those movies where somebody you have 6 months more to live?
Yeah.
I'm not saying you. Miss like, huh? And what do they do when they realize they have 6 months more to live? They start to spend time with family. They start to do things that have meaning. They start to make every single day count. Isn't that true? Because I only have 6 months more to live. Many of us, we live each day by day. And children, when I was leaving school, I don't know what I want to do. All I know, I don't want to be in school no more. That's all I knew. All right? I am a successful businessman. I have 3 businesses. I work for the oil and gas industries. So many of us want to work in oil and gas. I have my employees that goes out on the Exxon rigs. I have employees that go to Trinidad and they put them in these helicopters and turn them over in a pool and they got to swim out to pass a test. We do most of the events at the Marriott. I travel worldwide. I build buildings. I have apartments. I'm 39, and when I left school, I didn't even know I was going to do any of that. All my friends were going to UG, and they're going to be doctors and lawyers, and Greg, they're like, well, I want to work and make some money, you know? I had looks then, so I think my looks would take me through. But I wasn't thinking about the end. And about 2 months after we wrote CXC, I got a call that one of my good friends was dead. A guy named Kevin. He did well in CXC. He was at University of Guyana. He drank some coconut water and was jogging on the seawall, fall down and died. Brain aneurysm. He was 17 years old. Anybody here 17 or close to 17? 16, 15? Kevin's parents were rich. He had everything laid out, and Kevin was dead. And we went to his funeral, and at his funeral, I remember thinking, wow, I need to plan my life. And from that day, every dollar I make, every cent that came into my pocket, and every day that I lived, I said I wanted to be a meaningful and purposeful day. There's another saying that says, don't reinvent the wheel. Have you ever heard that? Don't reinvent the wheel. Don't go and try to do something that somebody already is doing. But I want to go further. I says, you can innovate the wheel. Who said there's only one way to pluck a chicken? There's so many ways to achieve career satisfaction. Don't let society pressure you into being something you don't want to be. Anybody ever been pressured? Let me see your hand. Somebody tell you gotta do this, you should do that. As a matter of fact, your uncle was this and your grandfather gonna be disappointed. You need to chart your own course. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
I broke away from what everyone wanted me to be, and I became a businessman. I worked at Scotiabank. How many of us know Scotiabank? I was in the loan office department. And guess what is my qualification? Can you guess my qualifications?
Making money.
My qualification is making money. My qualifications to this date is 9 subject CXC full stop. I've represented this country at the World Economic Forum in Geneva, Switzerland. I've stood in the United Nations headquarters and spoke to heads of nations in the entire forum. I've negotiated 400 million deals in Atlanta, Georgia on behalf of companies. I've worked for the government of Trinidad and Tobago. I have traveled extensively Europe and USA and the Caribbean. I've been to Brazil to negotiate railway coming to Guyana. I've met with our president, Dr. Bar Jagdeo, in his office face to face to negotiate contracts, and I have 9 subject CXC. Doesn't sound possible, right? Everywhere I go, they ask me this one question. Where did you do your master's? I remember in Atlanta, after negotiating a big deal, the guy says, Mr. Shaw, I would love to give you an employment opportunity with our company in Atlanta. Where do you do your master's? I said, I did my master's in life. And he left stupidity. He said, what do you mean? I said, everything I learned from life. Life will throw hardships your way. Life, this is what I told you, you had a lesson in disappointment. I'll still give you something, don't worry. Life will disappoint you. Life will break your heart. You will leave here and realize that life is a hard thing. But those hard lessons is what's going to open your eye and make you resilient and make you determined and give you a can-do attitude. Tell somebody next to you, I can do. Look at somebody behind you and say, I can do. When you go through your hardships, you realize that you will come through. There is a God, right? There is a God. There is you, and you have the strength within you to go through and to come through. So I say to you today, start with the end in mind and realize you don't know when you're going to die. So every single day, I want to make the best of that day. I made a TikTok video before I came, well, as I was driving. Do you know, I got up this morning. Anybody ever felt really sad? Let me see your hands. Sad to the point you don't want to talk to nobody. Sad to the point you wish you could just pull your sheet over your head and don't wake up today. Let me see some hands, man. If you wear deodorant, put your hands up, right? Those are the days when the negative energy of this life is trying to hold you back from accomplishing something great. Those are the days when you have to dig deep within yourself and says, you know what? I'm going to make something out of today. I woke up this morning feeling like that. But I remembered I have to come to Camille's Academy. I got to speak to some amazing young children, and I got to motivate you. So that was my motivation. I started with the end in mind. I came here, I'm standing in front of you, I'm sweating on the inside while glowing on the outside, right? It's kind of hot. But I'm enjoying looking at your faces. I'm enjoying looking at you dressed in your career goal uniform. And you are inspiring me. Because one day you will stand just like I'm standing and you will speak to the younger generation because you are the future. Are you not the future? But what I want to tell you is this. Finally, I want to set this because my friends have to speak. They're looking like, can you finish at least? We need to speak too, bro. You sure? The worst thing to tell me is no, you know. I used to be a pastor. I can preach for 2 hours. I used to be a pastor. Can I give you some of my background? I used to do gold mining in the interior. I used to handle millions of dollars at age 21. And guess what? I lost it all at age 23. And I moved from driving a fancy RAV4 to having millions of dollars in a bank, to losing it all, to having to humble myself and work as a cleaner for my brother for $4,000 a week. Life has a way of humbling you. And do you know that is the best experience I ever had? Because when I was making all that money at a young age, I was arrogant. I was boastful. I used to talk to my mother anyhow. I believe the minute you get money, you could talk to your parents anyhow because he's a big man. Life has a way of humbling you. And there I was, I had to sell my vehicle out. I had to take all my money and pay off debts. And my brother, who I used to treat bad, anybody treat your siblings bad? Yes, you're proud of it? You're proud of it? Okay, I'll pray for you. My same brother that I treated bad is the same brother I had to go and work for. It's the same brother who had to bail me out. It's the same brother, we had an internet cafe, and in the evenings I had to go and sweep, mop, wipe down the counters, wipe down the computers, and lock up the place for him. And he paid me $4,000 a week because I was broke, busted, disgusted, but still cute, right? I had my looks still. But I learned a valuable lesson. While thinking about the end, don't let your head get so big that you become arrogant. Well, you know what? I'm going to be a doctor. I'm studying to be a doctor, so nobody could tell me nothing. Humility is the way upwards. And I crawled my way out of debt. I did what I had to do to go out of debt. I went into the interior and worked in the mining pit. Anybody ever went in the bush? In the mining pit, head to toe full of mud. From 4 in the morning to 5 in the afternoon, you're soaked with mud. And I'm spraying a jet so in the interior. And I get dengue, I get typhoid. Thank God I never had malaria. And one time dengue and typhoid hit me at the same time. I was 22 years old. And I lay there in the sun crying, thinking, you know what? This is it. I'm done with life. Like, I'm not strong enough for this. And a guy paid my passage and brought me out the interior. It took me 3 days to come out the interior to town. And I remember crying to my mother, the same mother I used to treat bad. The same mother was a big man with all this money. I cried like a baby. Life has a way of breaking you. And hear what she said. She was calling me Papa. She said, Papa, don't worry. All is going to be good. Is nothing better than a mother reassuring you. And bit by bit, I start out. And let me tell you how my story ended up here. I went to my brother and I said, bro, the last thing I want you to do is lend me $40,000 to start a graphic design course at Global Technology. I couldn't draw to save my life. To this day, I could only draw stick people with a wrong head, a body, a foot, and a hand. And if I got to draw fingers, a circle and a set of banana. My brother lent me that $40,000 and I went to Global Technology and I did graphic designing. And from that day, I started a graphic designing business, which turned into a printing business, which turned into billboards, which turned into Exxon, which turned into traveling internationally. All the money I get, now I'm no longer sporting it out. Anybody a sport? I hope not. Hello? I see Miss raising shadow with maybe on the weekends. I don't know. I can't remember. But I thought money will always be there. But now that I make money back, I save every cent. And guess what I do with it? I buy property. I buy buildings. I invest in real estate. I build apartments. I make my money work for me. The best thing you could do when you grow up and you start to make money, don't buy a vehicle first. There's a liability. Invest in property. invest in a land. If your parents or your grandparents give you a land, don't sell it out. Invest in it, because that's generational wealth you're building. I'm starting with my end in mind. I'm 39 being a picnic yet, but I am laying a foundation, so when the picnic and barn, I might make like triplets one time, right? You know, you just go for it. Go big or go home, right? I am setting a foundation for them. Also, society says, what's the retirement age in Guyana? Who could tell me? What's the retirement age? 55, 60, 65, right? Who says you have to wait till 65 to retire? Pension. By the time you turn 65, you're done preparing for dead. I want to retire by 45. So what I'm doing, I'm building apartments, I'm renting them out, and that's my money working for me. So right now, I could sit back and collect a set of money every month. I have 7 apartments renting. I have a 4-story building right now with 6 other units going up for oil and gas people. What is that doing? In another 5 years, I'll be 45, I'll be able to hire a general manager for my company to run my business. Y'all hear me at the back already? Yeah. Do I need this? 1, 2, 1, 2, check, mic, 1, 2. Do you need this? No. I can't hear you. No. I wanted to be a DJ, you know. Do I have a selector in the house? Anybody do selecting and no? Okay. I use my big mouth. What am I doing? I'm setting the stage for my money to work for me. Can I tell you something? When you start earning, when you start making your money, don't follow friends and go on sport. Don't go follow, I must get the newest iPhone, and the newest Samsung, and the newest Air Force One, and the newest false hair that's selling by Dadas and Regent Street. Hello? It's not about Fenty by Rihanna makeup. Hello? Save your money. Invest it in assets that will then bring money to you. Is somebody here? Now, if I want to buy a Mercedes-Benz, I can buy it. If I want to jump on a plane and fly to New York tomorrow, I could jump on a plane. If I want to do a Europe tour right now, I can do an entire tour of Europe. I've been all over Europe. I love it. If I feel like eating a Surinamese meal, I could just call Trans Guyana, book a flight, go to Suriname, eat, and come back the next day if I want. But it took years and years of dedication, savings, and discipline. You got that? Dedication, savings, and what? Discipline. But even though I can do it, I still have a Tacoma that's not a Mercedes. I still got a nice vehicle, an SUV, that I bought from a diplomat at quarter the price that is valued at. Because I learned that I got to be wise with my money. Because money don't stay all the time. Not because you're making it today, you will make it tomorrow. You get this? You dig? You understand what I'm saying? Save your money. Young men, let me see all the young men in the house. I want to tell you it's easy. Young ladies, cork your ears. Don't spend out your money behind girls. Some of you, one of them must, yes, is the ones that Holland must be doing the spending. Young ladies, don't spend out your money behind trends. Save. The minute you could open a bank account, find yourself at the bank and open a bank account. When you see your money growing, your smile will get broader and broader. You get what I'm saying? So let's close this off now. Begin with the end in mind. Say it with me. Begin with the end in mind. Think about it. When you die, if I die tomorrow, I still have a legacy. I still have buildings that I've built. I still have people's lives that I've impacted. My funeral might be big or it might be small, but I've left a legacy because every day I wake up, I realize this could be my last. This could be my last. If me and my mother get an argument, anybody's argued with your parents? My hand up still. I don't let that day pass without going and tell my mother, sorry. You know why? I used to be a pastor. And I did so many funerals, and at the grave, people are there crying, one more chance, mommy, I'm sorry. Mommy, wake up, I want to tell you I'm sorry, and it was too late. Don't let your anger as a teenager get the better of you. Learn to keep short accounts of unforgiveness. Let it go quickly. Are you learning something today? Yes. I want you to see me on TikTok or Facebook or somewhere and message me in a few years and say, thank you so much for that. I've changed my life. I've started to invest. I'm starting with the end in mind. And I want to make a pledge here with Miss. In 5 years, if we're still around in the Warden End and Muduru and take over Guyana and so on, in 5 years, one of you make something of your life and you start a business. Because I'm a businessman. I can't talk about doctor and lawyer and them things. But if you start a business and your business is doing well, find me and say, hey, I want to share my story with you. And if you need an investor, I will invest in you. Is that a challenge?
Yes, sir.
Is that a challenge?
Yes, sir.
So I challenge somebody here. You want to be a doctor? Go for it. You want to be a lawyer? Go for it. You want to be a business person, businessman or woman? Go for it. There is no rule that says you have to fit into a box. Stand out, be an innovator, and make your country proud. Thank you so much.